So a new terrain set for Warcry got announced today. And I have to be honest with you, I am not all that chuffed with it. I'm not very happy with the way that Warcry is currently going, and we'll go through that in a second. We'll look at the actual terrain set itself. So from an objective point of view, is actually very nice. So we get 3 sets of climbable terrain on 2 separate levels. We get a whole bunch of scattered terrain, a bit of stuff to hide behind, and some more little walkways and that kind of thing. But it's not a massive terrain set. There's not a huge amount of stuff on there. But having said that, it does look nice, and it will fill out a little battlefield pretty well. My problem with this is that we get battle plan cards with this, but only in terms of where to set down our terrain. In terms of Warcry, so I've collected everything for Warcry. The full first season, all of the different warbands that have come out, and I did quite like the way that season 2 went along. Wasn't a huge fan of the Heart of Gur setting, however, I did like the idea of every release you get 2 warbands and a fair bit of terrain, along with all the battle plan cards and that kind of stuff to go with it. Quite happy with that, to be fair. But since then, maybe not quite so happy with how it's going. So with this, we get obviously our battle plan cards, our terrain, I'm assuming a board from what we can see there, and that's it. Oh yeah, and we get a token set. So great, that's fine. My problem is that this, when we start tying it in with other releases, so very recently, this was announced, the Hunter and Hunted pack. So basically what this is 2 warbands, a campaign book, and a piece of terrain. And that piece of terrain is the Ogre Moor Pit, which is great. That's fantastic. Now, with this Moor Pit, there is no battle plan cards that this Moor Pit features in. So in terms of all the other releases for this season, it's got all the battle plan cards for setting of terrain for everything, every box that's come out. This piece will sit in isolation. You can include it in your games or not. Now, within the book for this release, there is there's a generator, and it will be, you know, rolling of dice and that kind of thing. But there's a kind of a generator for doing your battle plan, so doing it without the cards, which for me takes out a lot of what I really love about Warcry. So a departure completely from the way the game runs, from everything is done with these cards to all of a sudden you're generating from this table, which I don't like. What I wish they had done is just stuck with the previous way of doing it. Is you get 2 warbands and a bunch of terrain, and then all your cards are interchangeable for the sets that you own, and you don't need to reference any books for anything like that, and there's no kind of rogue terrain that you don't have cards for. Now we have a mixture of all those little problems, which I don't like, to be fair. Now, I actually like the terrain, obviously, it's very, very nice. Like I say, I would have liked to have moved away from the Heart of Gur setting, but this seems to be pushing us deeper into it. So this terrain is more from the Eye of Kotek. So the Eye of Kotek is the, where are we? It's the Seraphon starship from which crashed thousands of years before, and these are the ruins of it, and obviously been taken over from from various other things that kind of live in the Gur setting. Certain things I do actually very much like is, look at that. I know it's a very blurry image, but that head on the centre there, very cool. And obviously this arc is very, very nice indeed. But yeah, you know, as much as I'm complaining, I'm almost certain that I will still get it. But yeah, there's a certain amount of me wishes that we had just for the current season of Warcry. I wish we'd moved away from the Heart of Gur setting and into something else. There was a really good opportunity to do it, and it's just not going to happen. But no doubt after this season, there will probably be another one, and then we'll be on to a new Warcry cycle anyway. So it will move on eventually. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the direction of Warcry, really. Still love the game. Still love, look, it's the battle plan cards is what makes it special for me. The versatility and the variety of gameplay that comes out of those cards is what's most important about the game for me. And anything that takes away from that, I kind of feel like it starts to be to the detriment of what happens with Warcry. And so, for example, this box, there's only 12 cards in it. And it's all for scenery placement and that kind of thing. And I know there's plenty of variety within the other battle plan cards, but I think that those other cards are what freshens the game up, absolutely. But there you go. So what do you think? How do you think this is going to go? So if you think about Season 1, we had a core box, we had lots and lots of different warband releases, and then we had, peppered in amongst that, we had 3 or 4 terrain pack releases. Then obviously at the end of that, we had Catacombs came out, and then we had Red Harvest, which were big boxes on their own, lots of terrain, especially for Red Harvest, and new warbands and that kind of thing. But then, ever since then, it's been a real complete shift. Everything from the second season was basically big box, 2 warbands, set of terrain, battle plan cards, and there were very few releases outside of that. I remember the big gladiator horse-looking dude, and there was another chaos-based warband that was released. The name escapes me right now. But yeah, there wasn't that many other releases, whereas now it looks a bit fractured to me now. So from within that kind of framework of everything that's been brought for Season 2, it looks like they're taking it away from it straight away with Season 3, especially when you look at the current starter box, which is a Frankenstein's monster from Warhammer Underworlds, which has its place. Don't get me wrong, I quite like that box. It's an opportunity to play 15, 20-minute games of Warcry on a smaller board with fewer kind of models in your warband and that kind of thing. It has its own place, but it, to me, tells me that everything with Warcry at the moment is kind of disjointed, and it could do with all coming back together very soon. But anyway, I'm almost certain I will still be getting these sets. And yeah, no doubt they'll be around the corner as well. I expect some point in October these will start coming out. But anyway, what do you think, guys? Where do you think Warcry is going? I know there's quite a few Skirmish fans that are usually in the comments that are kind of telling me what they think about this and about Kill Team and that kind of stuff. Where do you think we're going with Warcry? Is this just a way of saying, no, we've got enough terrain, so release the 2 warbands separately for a cheaper price? Or I've got enough warbands, just want to continue with more terrain, so again, keeping it separate. What I know for sure is the price of this terrain set plus the price of the Hunter and Hunted box will not equate to the same value as one of the previous Warcry boxes, which was like £110. I'm almost certain that these prices together, the cheapest you'll get it is going to be £140 at least. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when that comes out. But let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much to you who stayed to the end. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll be back very soon with lots more. Thanks a lot, guys. See ya.